In TBL person table, I have added another column age of integer data type and allowed nulls. Now, let's populate TBL person with some invalid data. When I run this script, it's successfully executed despite this fact age column is not realistic. It is a common sense that age cannot be negative. How can we restrict or prevent this type of data in our table? The answer is check constraints. All I want this column to store value between 0 and 150. If anyone try to insert any value above or below this range, SQL Server should throw an error. Like other tasks, we can create this constraint in two ways, either using GUI or with query. Let's first try using GUI. Expand the TBL person, here is Constraints folder. Right-click on Constraints folder. Hit New Constraint. Check Constraint window popped up. Remember, check constraint is a Boolean value. It can return either true or false. Now, we want this age column to allow value between 0 and 150 only. To do this, you should enter expression here. Their expression should return only Boolean values. When it will be true, value should be allowed to insert or vice versa. So, here is the final expression. Age value must be greater than 0 but less than 150. Give it a meaningful name. Close this window. Save table changes. Look, we got an error. This is because TBL person already containing data which is violating the constraint. Here is the invalid record which contain an invalid value. To fix this issue, you must delete or update this record. For now, let's delete this record from TBL person. Now, if perform select operation on TBL person, invalid record gone. Flip back to the table window. Changes saved successfully. Now, if I try to execute this query, we got error of check constraint violation. Let's modify it with some valid age value. Record saved successfully. Let's try another use case. If I insert null value in age column, it successfully saved. It is because null is an unknown value which cannot be compared with check constraint returning Boolean values. In same way, you can delete constraint either graphically or using SQL query. To do it graphically, simply right-click required constraint within Constraints folder and hit delete. To do it with SQL query, the command is same as dropping other constraints. As constraint is directly related or attached to a TBL person, we are basically altering the table while dropping constraint. So here is the query. Alter table TBL person. Drop constraint and the name of the constraint to be deleted. Press F5 or hit execute. Right-click and refresh the folder. Check constraint is deleted successfully. Now, let's create check constraint using SQL query. Here is the SQL query. Alter table TBL person. Add constraint and then the constraint name. Check is a keyword specifying the type of constraint. And finally, the regular expression within parenthesis. Press F5 or hit execute. Refresh constraint folder under the related table and you can see the check constraint. Now, if I try to insert some invalid value again, it is still throwing an error of constraint violation.